course, Man of God, which are currently streaming on Netflix, and Fumilayo Ransom Kuti's biopic, which is coming out soon. So let me calm down and call the name for you. And we are going to do that our sound. For the first time on Spectrum Television, join me and make welcome Joseph Umuaibom, all the way from Lagos. Good morning, Joseph. So good to have you on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
How are you, Joseph?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
Happy New Month to you. So, how does it feel to be alive today? It's the first day of July.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. We are in the officially in the second half of the year. The year is fast running. Um, we've done a lot in the last 6 months, and hopefully, in the next 6 months, we'll do a lot more by the grace of God.
Great. So we have a really nice bio here, and it shows how much work and how much investments that you have done into the film industry, especially back here for Nollywood. Over 20 years of management experience. But let's go back to the beginning. What was your introduction into the industry? Where was this for you? Did you go studying medicine, then you suddenly discovered that you preferred, script writing and movie production, and you slid? What was your beginning into the industry?
You must be either a soothsayer or a prophet, or let me use in our local parlance, a winch. Because you almost nailed it on the head. I didn't study medicine. I actually studied biochemistry from the University of Uyo.
Come on
Wow.
now. Yeah. So yeah, so go ahead.
What did
So
you say?
from
Yes,
biochemistry into veering off into movie production and all of the great things you do. I mean, some of the movie names that we
right.
have mentioned are some of the biggest on the platform of Nollywood. So how did you get there? Why are you not turning
Well,
chemicals?
from biochemistry, I did a couple of stuff in administration in the corporate world. Um, then I got into the arts, but getting into the arts, I didn't start with filmmaking. I actually started with managing a cultural center. That's Terra Culture. And in the course of managing Terra Culture, we started making plays. So my first production, first that I produced was a play, Saro the Musical. And then we made quite a number of plays with Bolanle Austin Peters, my principal. And from there, we started taking our plays abroad. We took our play to the London West End, performed for a couple of weeks. Then to South Africa, we performed for about 3 weeks in Pretoria. Then to Dubai, then to Cairo, Egypt, a number of times on invitation. And sometimes we just funded the trip and went. Then in the course of all of that, we now decided to venture into filmmaking. And our very first film was 93 Days. Then after 93 days, we've just been rolling out. In fact, I just got off set last month, June. We just finished shooting an epic film. So I have two films that has not been released yet. That one is completely done in post production. One we just finished shooting is going into post production. So that's how I started. I never planned to be in the arts. I love the arts anyway. But should I say happenstance got me into the arts, and since then I've been loving it. I've been involved in different aspects of the arts, from the visual arts. I've curated exhibitions in Lagos, in Calabar, abroad, different parts of the world. I've conducted art exhibitions, art auctions. I've been involved in valuing artworks, art pieces. You know, then I got into theater. Then I got into film, and here we are.
You've had your hand robust on all of the art ends. Is this currently fulfilling for you? Are you finding fulfillment doing all of this? When you go to bed at night after all of this new involvement in the art, do you feel good with yourself?
Absolutely, I feel so good and fulfilled. very importantly, I know the number of youths that we've impacted on, not just from the visual arts, but also the theater and film. There are thousands of youths that we've impacted on, that we've touched their lives, that we've been able to bring out of poverty, that we've been able to train um, informally initially, informally in the sense that we brought them on our production and we trained them. A number of them have now become producers of their own, directors of their own. A number of them have started one other business or the other based on what they learned from us.
I see a
So it's
target
quite
of
fulfilling when you see all of that.
65,000. I see a target of 65,000 for Terra Culture. And I saw the fact that most of these trainings are done free of charge without billing anyone.
Absolutely. The 65,000 target, it's actually a new initiative. We've had that running for about a year. And so far, within the 1 year period, we've been able to train about 5,000 people. And you are right, they're absolutely free. So we pretty much are trying to transfer skills that over the years we have garnered, not necessarily by going to school to learn, because we've come to see that. For example, I have a 12 o'clock appointment today with a master's student in the University of Nigeria in Suka that wants to write her thesis on our production. I get a lot of all of this from different schools: ABU, Zaria, University of Ibadan, Ife, University of Lagos. Some we do virtual interviews, some they come to meet me in the office and we talk, because we notice that, especially in theater, the technical aspect of theater, they don't really practice it or teach it that well in the universities in Nigeria. But we have the hands-on experience. We have pretty much the best technical theater you can think of. So these people want to write about us as part of their master's thesis, their projects and stuff like that. So the impact is massive. And then now we plan to train 65,000 in 5 years, on lighting design, sound design, script writing, and animation. And each cohort we put out the words for people to register, we get at least 10,000 people indicate interest that they want to study. So the desire is there, the opportunities are not that much. So this intervention, which has been funded by the MasterCard Foundation, has actually made it easy for us to be able to train people, and for free for that matter.
All right.
Well, definitely, it's a beautiful thing to know that young people across Nigeria are benefiting from such training. But let's come down to the different aspects of training. How long does it take for people who sign up for your training to get, to have a grasp of what the training is all about, and then go out and make a difference and have a honest impact?
All right, so the training online runs for about 2 months. You have a window of 2 months. You study at your pace, so you could finish it in less than 2 months if you focus and want to get it done in less than 2 months. Then we now have the practical sessions. For the practical sessions, you have to come down to our practical centers, and then we take you through proper practical training on lighting design, sound design, so you have hands-on experience. And then when you're done with that training, we now place you on internship with different production companies, with
Are these
different companies
practical
that require your
sessions?
skill.
Are these practical sessions
So that
mandatory for all courses that you offer?
Well, not all courses require practicals. For example, script writing,
You can do it
does
and
not
submit
require
virtually.
practicals. But what we do is that when you are done with your study, you write a short script. We get industry experts, script writers that are been writing for film, for theater, to assess your script and then score you. And also, if that things they think you did not do well, they give you comments that you can, or feedback, so that you can improve.
Okay.
Animation, the same thing. You have to do a project at the end of your study. But for lighting and sound, these are physical, hands-on activities. So you come to our practical centers and then you do the practicals. Then after that, we place everybody, irrespective of what you studied. We try to find internship opportunities for you.
That's a big one, but that will also bring us to the question of when you're training over 5,000 people with a target of 65, and these trainings are done free of charge. How do you? How is funding like? Are you taking funds from the movies that you do that are doing great in the market? But I mean, it's capital intensive to give these kinds of trainings out for free, which is a great developmental cause taken on by Terra Culture. But how is funding like for the entire system with some of these things that you have on your hands?
Right. We have funding from the Mastercard Foundation, so they are covering the cost for all the training. We just carry out the training; they cover the cost. We have centers in we have two centers in Lagos. We have two centers in Ogun State. We have two centers in Kano. We are hoping to spread to other states if the intervention permits. So we've got staff there that handle all of this. We have people on ground, but they're all funded and covered by the Mastercard Foundation.
Okay.
But talking about states, I'm always very selfish when it comes to bringing training
You know,
down
I
to
would have
Akwa
asked,
Ibom.
I would have asked the question, but I knew that that's close to your heart, so I left it. Yeah.
I'm always very particular, especially when we're having this conversation with Akwa Ibomites. Now, unarguably, we are overripe. Our stories are not even being started on yet. Our locations are not even being started on yet. So, what are you doing to bring that kind of exposure, to bring those kinds of training down to a Ibom state? Because we have a world of talented, amazing youngsters who just need guidance to explore their talents.
Yes, we have that in our minds as well. When it comes to international organization funding, they have their areas that they have in mind, so you have to justify why you need to move it somewhere else, which we are doing. They identified the three states that they wanted to start with, but now we are proposing that we extend to other states, even if not for all the courses because of cost, but at least for some of them. So Akwa Ibom is one of such states that we are having conversation about because I'm passionate about bringing it down to Akwa Ibom as well. So fingers crossed that it works out and you'll have us in Akwa Ibom soon.
Mm. Talking about having you in Akwa Ibom soon, let's also delve into your personal investments into the I don't know if I want to do Aquacross now or into the Akwa Ibom movie industry. You have a wealth of experience, and personally, like I said earlier, most of the movies that are in your brochure as the things you have worked on are excellent movies because I mean, from script writing to the detailing, actors and cast and everything, these movies came out top notch. So there's a wealth of experience on your sleeve. How much, without even coming to the back end of what Terra Culture is doing, how much of, what will I call it, communication are you having with Akwa Ibomites, whether they are in Lagos or they are here in Akwa Ibom? Do you come back to attempt to give a give back, become a ladder that other Akwa Ibomites can, use and get into the spaces that you have? With the kinds of works you do, I can only imagine what your network is like internationally. So what's your give back to the Akwa Ibom community in terms of movie? Like he said, we are largely untapped.
Yeah, we do work with Akwa Ibom. I am particularly interested in having, if we have professionals of Akwa Ibom origin that can work on our production. And on most of our production, we've had quite a number of them, feature, and some of our films as well. We've had a number of them. If you notice, Collision Course, the lead was Daniel Etimeffiong. He's a Kwabomite, and we've had Kepi Ekpenyong Basi in a feature in our film. Yeah, and then also in the crew aspect, we've had a number of Akwa Ibomites also feature as part of our crew.
But some of
But
these names
aside
are
from
like
that,
names that have, some of these names are names that have already been there. We're even looking at, bringing on more people. Daniel Etimeffiong has made a name for himself. Kepi Ekpenyong has been there since I was a little girl. So these are like people that have already stood the sands of time. We are talking about being a ladder to the new generation of, artists and artisans from the industry.
yeah, I was getting there. So So these people we have worked with, and then a number of them also up and coming have featured in our theater production. What we have done over the years, we've tried to discover new talents through theater and then
Mm,
push them to films,
mm,
you know. So we've had quite a number of Kwaiba that have featured in our theater production, you know, and some of them has even started up their own um, business, you know, and then we hope that we can also be able to tap them into film. But we usually have a challenge, and the challenge is that if we are producing a film and there are certain roles that need to be filled by certain kind of people, if I do not find somebody of Akwa Ibom origin that fits that um, description,
mm-hmm,
I'm not going to cast a wrong cast because I want to cast somebody from Akwa Ibom,
mm-hmm,
but rather look for something else that the person fits in
mm-hmm.
to put the person in. And then hopefully over time we have people that can fit in every aspect of what we do. The same thing with the crew, you know. So we've been grooming some people. We have one or two Akwabomas that are featured in as interns, worked with us at interns at Terra Culture that we want to push out there also. So it's still work in progress. But at the end of the day, if you are a casting director, one of the major things is having the right person in the right role. If you do not, then you are going to mess up your film.
Mm.
So at the risk of messing up your film, if you want to look at the fact that you must put somebody that is from your place, then you may not be able to achieve the standard that you want to achieve. But when we groom and train these people and get them to the standard we want, of course, we'll use them. And then also there's the I Creative Pro group that Dan Chris, my brother and friend, put together, that we are assembling Akwa Ibomites, you know, across the country, across the world, because we have some from abroad being part of that group, so that we have like a body of Akwa Ibom creatives,
Mm.
you know, that we can work together. We
Oh,
can
the
pull
network.
talent from there. We can collaborate. You know, we can even see how we can impact just in Lagos, not just abroad. Bring something to do in the States. It's a new group we started, and hopefully it will be a platform that we can use to launch Akwa Ibom into the mainstream of Nollywood.
Mm, great.
Definitely an interesting trend, and I know that in some of the conversations we've had with Dan Chris, is also mentioned the need to come back home. But before going to coming back home, do you think Akwa Ibom is even ready for the kind of breakthrough that is required? Assuming we have the likes of yourself, the I Creative, and a collection and the collaborative efforts of all the Akwa Ibom sons and daughters who have made impact within and outside the shores of Nigeria coming home to actually share their wealth of experience. Do you think our young generations are even ready for it?
You know, that's another thing. We need to have like a reorientation of the minds of the youth. Let them see, you know, the opportunities available in the creative industry, especially in Nollywood. I know a few young people in Akwa Ibom that are trying to make films and stuff. I've been in conversation with them, seeing how we can help them, you know. But the industry is largely, you know, trailing behind. So it needs a lot of work. It needs us to be able to pull them up. But are they willing to be pulled up? So that's another work you need to do. Getting getting their minds prepared for the big stage. If not, it's going to be a major flop. So we are also hoping that through the iCreative Pro Hub, that we will be able to have that kind of discussions and sessions with the youths in Akwa Ibom, the industry in Akwa Ibom. You know, a good film starts with the script. We have a lot of fantastic, amazing stories, but scripting usually is the major problem. By the time you are able to put together a fantastic and amazing script, you can sell it to different platforms that will be willing to fund. You know, so there are opportunities out there. How do we get our youth? How do we get Akwa Ibomites to be able to understand and know what they need to be able to tap the opportunities that are out there? How do we get them to see filmmaking as a business? So you have to be properly organized. You have to have your structure. You have to have an organization. It is not something you do just for the fun of it. You need to have your taxes in place. You need to have your financials in place. You need to have your books of accounts. So if there's an opportunity and there's an organization giving out grants, giving out funds, and then we ask you to apply, you are able to present a track record of how you have been able to manage the business to some extent. It doesn't have to run into millions of, but at least there's a track record that you are able to run the business, having in mind proper accounting procedures and international standards in managing organizations. Now that gives you access to be able to apply for grants. The Bank of Industry has the Creative Industry Funds. There are a number of other funds like that. But do we have people that have the requirement to be able to tap into this so that it may impact the industry? Maybe that's another thing that we need to see how to get our people to understand what they need to have to be able to play in the big league like every other person.
Well, definitely, that is a conversation that we need to extend on and dwell on, because oftentimes why people from this climb, not just in the entertainment industry, have not been able to access grants and things being given by schemes provided for by the federal government through the different agencies, has been the question of requirements from these government agencies. So, talking about gaining access to grants, what do you think needs to be done for our people here to be better exposed, better positioned to equally benefit from these kinds of schemes?
Well, I think the very first thing is being ready, being prepared. And in being ready is you running your business in such a way that if, say, for example, Netflix wants to give funds for filmmaking, and then they request for your company profile, request for your audited accounts, request for certain things that international organizations will ordinarily ask for, you have it ready. But when you don't even have it ready, you can't even cross the stage of saying you are being considered. So how do we run our businesses? How do we have these structures in place? And then after that, when you have all of this in place, the next thing is access to information. A lot of people can't access funds, grants, and stuff like that because they don't know. I guess that's where we come in. That's where the iCreative Pro Hub comes in, so that we can be able to, having gotten this information about available opportunities like this, we are able to pass it on to our people that these opportunities are available. But our people have an issue, needs to be ready to be able to be qualified to tap in or apply for these funds.
Well, that's such a beautiful insight, especially because we are looking at the fact that there's a gap in information. People don't know where to look, to find these things. But just before we go on a break, I was going to ask, Nollywood is really evolving, and we are getting to a big place. Most of our movies are hosted on Netflix, and then we also have the competition that is now, a raving boss, Prime Videos also. Where do you see Nollywood heading? Also, there was a day set out now for Nollywood movies at the Essence Festival, the first of its kind. Never has been done. Daniel Etim's wife paved the way for that to happen. So we have a day where Nollywood movies are displayed, our artists are displayed. Being a pivotal part of the industry, where do you think that we are headed, generally at this time?
Yeah, generally, I think there has been significant interest across the world in productions of African origin, not just Nigeria. African stories generally, Hollywood and across the world, they are interested in African stories. You know, um, see what they did with Woman King, an African story again. So there are a number of other African stories that they are now telling. So that shows that we have the stories, and they're interested in the stories. So that gives us, puts us on one pedestal already. Then now the other pedestal is as content creators, as producers, being able to churn out quality content, because these platforms you are mentioning, you know, they will not take, they have their specifications, they have the quality they expect, the minimum standards. And if you cannot meet up these minimum standards, so the interest is there. If the interest was not there, we will not have Netflix coming in. We will not have Amazon Prime Video coming into Nigeria. We will not have Paramount. Paramount are here as well, coming into Nigeria. A number of platforms are coming in because they want our stories. So that desire of our story already has given us an edge. That means we are doing something right, but we can get better, and the world is waiting to take on our productions. When you talk about festivals, I've, we have featured our film in a number of international festivals um, across the world. But again, they have their specifications because when you apply to feature in the festival, if you do not meet their minimum standard, they have a juror that would a jury that will
Okay, network is
go
trying to.
through to select. So if
Okay, network is really getting in the way. This is the opportunity we get to go on that quick break, and when we return, we'll be bringing the concluding part of our interview and conversation with our guest this morning. So stay tuned.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
which is the only one allowed by across them. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord. I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Glad to welcome you back. It's still Rise and Shine Saturday, coming to you live on Spectrum Television, and feel free to join the conversations at SpectrumTv.ng across the social media platform. And you can also follow us on our socials. And yes, today we have been having the conversation around the Nigerian movie industry with a seasoned Nollywood producer who has done some amazing body work of arts, and his name is Joseph. And so we'll get to wrap up this conversation. But before then, let's get back to the Nollywood industry and the conversations. We're talking about visibility. And I know you've highlighted, some of the companies that are already coming to Nigeria. Let's talk about what this would mean for aspiring, filmpreneurs, what this would mean for our stories on the global stage.
All right. What this means largely is that we have access to the world seeing what we are doing. What that means also is that a lot more people internationally will be interested in investing in the industry because they can see what the industry is doing. On the other hand, these platforms have presented other streams of income for filmmakers. Largely, we used to be dependent on the box office, but now we can put them up on streaming platforms. We can put them up on the other online platforms that we can put them up so we can make more money, So that also gives the opportunity for even upcoming filmmakers to be able to not just, if you can't go to the box office, you can go to one streaming platform or the other. It doesn't have to be Netflix, it doesn't have to be Amazon, there are other platforms that are available that are local. There's Iroko, there's Accelerate, there are a couple of other platforms that have come up that are buying content. So where to put your content is now available because of the advent of streaming platforms, the advent of TV stations that you do not have to walk into their studios before you can from your home, the comfort of your home, online you can view. So a lot more people can monetize their content. So that gives you access to making more money, which a lot of Nigerians have been tapping into. So it has placed Nigeria on the map. When we put up the Bling Legations, within the first 25 days, we had over 6 million people across the world view it on Netflix when we received the report. So you see that kind of massive audience that you ordinarily wouldn't get from a cinema, So those are the advantages of this platform coming in. And a number of them also are investing in originals, giving money to filmmakers to make films for them.
Okay.
So you didn't have the funds, you have a good story, they fund it for you to be able to make it for them.
this brings me to another really big question. So now the industry as a whole, producers, scriptwriters are able to have platforms where they can make money. How is this money interpreted to cast and cast actors, everybody that makes up the wrong of getting a good movie out? Because we've had a problem where someone serves a time in the industry, becomes a veteran, but you cannot tally their on-screen life, so to speak, a lot of the investment they've made in the industry and how much they are worth or how much they have. We have to do fundraisers on social media for some of our actors. Now that we have new platforms where we are making more money, are we doing better paying our actors, actresses, cast and crew?
Absolutely. Right now, a lot of Nigerian actors, a lot of Nigerian crew, when they give you their rates, it shakes you because they're charging way higher now because they're more informed about what's happening. So it's not cheap. The crew in particular will give you a weekly rate that this is how much I charge per week. If you want me for 2 weeks, this is what it will come to. Some give daily rate, this is how much I charge per day. So they have valued themselves and they place themselves on where they think they belong and the kind of fee they think they should command. And also in all of this now, a lot of creatives, actors now have managers that negotiate good deals for them, managers that look for good opportunities for them. So I think it is better. Would we one day get to a stage where there is a back end tied to contracts? In some instances, it happens, but largely no. By back end, what I mean is that okay, if you stream and you make XYZ amount, residual income comes to the actor also. Even in Hollywood, it's still a problem with streaming platforms. In fact, there's a strike currently in the US in Hollywood because of also this issue of residual income from the film. Right? You paid me all right. I featured in the film. Your film has broken the box office record. You've made so
And
much.
it's
I
still
mean,
making
something
more
else should come
money.
back to me. So even there, where they have been established for so long that we are even trying to emulate, they are still having these challenges. So we will get there, but right now, no residual income in a lot of cases. Perhaps in some cases, yes. But the actors, the crew, they're charging way higher than they used to do before.
Okay, that works for us.
All right. Just before we let you go, Joseph, what would be your word of advice? And I'm coming down to Okwibom because part of the conversations we've always had people saying, okay, there is no counterpart support from relevant government agencies and all of that, and that is why we're not having the kind of push that is required for our young people to be able to benefit from the sector. So, a word of advice to first, the aspiring, script writers, movie practitioners in Akwa and the world over by extension, and of course to government across the federation.
Well, first and foremost, I will advise that you do not give up. A lot of people get tired. I'm tired of this thing. Let me, don't give up. The industry is growing. It has not. We've not gotten there yet. It's going to blow. And it is those that stay the course that will reap. If you drop on the way, you only see others reaping what you most likely have put a lot of effort in making to grow. So don't give up. Stay in the game. But very importantly, improve the quality of your art. Gradually, even the viewers, even the consumers of your products are becoming more discerning. They know what good quality is. Because with the advent of Netflix and co, they can see what good quality is. They are not just stuck to you only. They have the options. So you need to up your game. If whether you are aspiring, you are upcoming, or you are established, you just need to see how you present a quality that people would like. That's very important. And also very important, understand that it is a business. Just like every banker wakes up, goes to the bank, taking it seriously. Just like the people that work in oil companies in the offices wake up and they take it seriously. The creative industry is serious business as well. Treat it as the business that it is. And that will go a long way in helping. Can government help? Massively, massively. If you want to push your story, the Akwa Ibom story, the stories we have in Akwa Ibom, if you want to create employment You know, the creative industry has the opportunity to employ a lot of people. I just finished on a film set, we just finished shooting, and on that set, we had over 200 people there for 1 month working because there are different departments, and you can fill that up with people, and you can create jobs for Akwa Ibomites. But government needs to also look at a way of not just waiting for federal government to put together a fund for the creative industry. Why can't Akwa Ibom State government put together a fund for the Akwa Ibom State creative industry, for filmmakers in Akwa Ibom State to be able to access some money to be able to create their own content and put what they want to do together? That also can happen, and that will help the industry in Akwa Ibom in growing pretty much faster.
Great. Something you just said reminded me of something I'd like to ask just before you go. And we're talking also about the brand Terra Culture, which is a big deal in the Nollywood space. A few months ago, we had a conversation about how that we are having more and more problems with seeing the same sceneries in our movies. We can know that house. Oh, I've seen this same house has been in 15 other movies, and I think it was Joke Silva who was saying we need to move to a place where we now have studios built for our movies. So the likes of Terra Culture and every other brand can collectively come together and build, studios, and maybe even government funding or get organizations to build. What are your thoughts about getting, studios for our movies? Because let's say some of our sites and scenes, houses and locations have been overflogged, and it makes you sometimes it makes you not look forward to these movies anymore. It's different faces, same house, same corners, same colorings, everything.
Funny enough, um, the last film we just finished shooting, the one I said we shot last month,
Yeah.
we shot on our own film village. We bought a large expanse of land somewhere in Ekpe, building the BAP Productions film village. So that's where we shot. And we're planning to build a sound studio there as well, where people can come and shoot different kind of films. So we have that in mind, and we have started the process, and we have built, and we are going to put it out for other filmmakers to be able to use it as well. So there are still a couple of other buildings springing up. Right now we have about 22 structures there, that can serve for different purposes. If you want location for your film. So that just came up last month. It's the first time we've used it, and we plan to continue using it and to put it out there for filmmakers to use it. Can a lot more people do stuff like that can help the industry? Absolutely. Can government support in giving funds because these things don't come cheap? Absolutely. That can be done, and it will help make our films look better. You can tear it down and redecorate it, make it look different. You don't have to go knocking on somebody's door begging to use people's homes. We have that platform already available for people to use.
I mean, when he mentioned 200 people on a location, I remembered Joke saying she frowns at having, visitors, like too many people, cast and crew, walking around her house and attempting to use her spaces. That makes sense. But then again, as an Akwa Ibomite, Akwa Ibom is an untapped location for movies. I mean, we have beautiful sceneries, we have hotels, we have places you can use for your movies also. So when you're looking at locations also, you should consider Akwa Ibom also for your movies. Don't you think so?
I think it's a great idea, but when you think of the cost of flying, I thought we had 200 people. So let's even assume we are going to take 100 or 150 and take the rest in Akwa Ibom, which is possible. How am I going to fly them out there? It shoot my filming costs over the roof. So, but with productions that need minimal crew, minimal team, it's possible. But when I have a large production like what I just did, as much as possible, look for somewhere nearby that I won't have to have that kind of logistic nightmare moving almost 200 people, across the country. That's one aspect. Then two, government done to attract producers to bring their film to Akwa Ibom. has to be to attract talent. Who used to go there.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I think the network has beaten us to it, but
Been there
thank
to
you.
visit
Okay.
preparatory for, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Joseph. We had
So I didn't
absolutely
hear
a
you.
wonderful time having this conversation with you. We truly appreciate your time, and we look forward to having more conversations as far as the Nollywood industry and the film industry the world over is concerned. Happy New Month once again to you, and do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you so much. Oh, great time, great conversation, of course. Super great insight as to a lot of things that are happening in the Nollywood industry. It's particularly an industry that is evolving with time, and we love to see the fact that we have sons and daughters from Akwa Ibom and every other region representing, and especially because we're seeing that we can now export our talents to the rest of the world. It's been a great time, having these conversations this morning, laughing about some of the things we've heard in the entertainment space.
Well, so this is how I would like for us to wrap up our
All right.
conversation
Okay.
today. So, you know that saying that when a woman gets to 40, 50, some people believe childbearing, it's a no-go area. It's not possible.
Well, it becomes more difficult.
It becomes more difficult. Some people use that word. Well, so our beautiful story today is that Naomi Campbell has welcomed her second child at the age of 53.
At the age of 53.
Now,
And
she shared the
I can
story.
remember the name Naomi Campbell. Like a lot of people will remember, she's one of those enigmas that we had back in the day, yeah.
So we'd like to just take, yes, having a child at 53 is absolutely amazing. We just give that short video and then we'll come back to wrap up the conversation.
Thing is timing in life.